So it's pretty obvious that Roman Reigns is going to win the Money in the Bank briefcase. I think we can all agree on that right now. And it seems as though they have something planned out for the Money in the Bank pay-per-view. Now, I have a feeling they're going to book it differently than how I imagine, but there's going to be a similar outcome from Money in the Bank. Hello, viewers. My name is Zach Hardy, and this is a topic video on the WWE talking about how I think Money in the Bank 2015 should end, and if he does win, what Roman Reigns can do with the Money in the Bank briefcase and how he can use it effectively. You see, I planned out a script here. Nice long script. I don't think you can see it. So I get this whole step process. And of course, with the Money in the Bank, anything can happen. However, right now it seems as though Roman Reigns is the only valuable option to win the Money in the Bank. And if so, then the only other people I could think of would be Randy Orton and Kofi Kingston, which wouldn't make much sense because Randy Orton is not really in the World Heavyweight Championship picture as of right now. And to add on to that, he is not really a valuable option right now for the World Heavyweight Championship in general. And Kofi Kingston, the only way I could see him winning would be if they were going to do something with the New Day, whereas they all become Money in the Bank, Mr. Money in the Bank. You know, Xavier Woods, Big E, Kofi Kingston, they all become Money in the Bank, Mr. Money in the Bank. And of course, I don't feel as though that's going to happen. The reason being is because I don't think the WWE likes the New Day that much. I think they like the New Day and, you know, the heel gimmick and everything, but I don't think they like them too much. Now, if they were going to break the New Day up and be stupid about it, then I would give it to the New Day. The reason being is because then they would go into an argument of who would be the next world champion, and everyone wants to be the world champion. But I don't see that happening because they are a relatively new stable, and they are very over with the crowd in a negative way, of course. They are getting booed out of the fucking place, which is a good thing for heels. So, of course, Roman Reigns is the only valuable option right now. Now, what exactly do I think he should do with the Money in the Bank briefcase? Well, I'm here to talk about that right now. You see, here's what I think what I think should happen at Money in the Bank, and I'll describe my reasonings behind it. Roman Reigns wins the Money in the Bank. Dean Ambrose versus Seth Rollins goes on. Dean Ambrose wins. Now everybody is going ecstatic because Dean Ambrose actually won the Money in the Bank. There's no rule that can overtake that. He actually won the World Heavyweight Championship. There's no rule that can overstand that. There's no disqualification that keeps Seth Rollins the title. None of that. But you know what? As he's celebrating, a minute or two later, Roman Reigns comes running down stage with the Money in the Bank briefcase. He cashes in after spearing Dean Ambrose and spearing Seth Rollins, throwing Rollins out of the ring, and picking apart the already injured Dean Ambrose. Cashes in the Money in the Bank, hits him with another spear, covers them 1, 2, 3. Roman Reigns is the new World Heavyweight Champion. He's also turned heel, which is a good thing now because now people will actually be affected by it, considering he's actually gotten over with the audience to a specific extent for a little while now. So it'd make more sense to turn him heel now than it would have a few months back. So what do I think will happen? Or what do I think should happen? Seth Rollins looks on. He looks at Roman Reigns now holding the title when he gets back up. He's going berserk because he lost the title to Dean Ambrose, and then Dean Ambrose lost it to Roman Reigns. And the Authority chooses Roman Reigns to be their top guy. And it doesn't matter whether or not the Authority screws Seth Rollins out of the championship, or they just take Roman Reigns in and say bye-bye to Seth Rollins. Literally, bye-bye to Seth Rollins. Now, here's what I think Roman Reigns can use as his motive for cashing in on Dean Ambrose, and why it took him until Money in the Bank to cash in, or to take advantage of a vulnerable Dean Ambrose. You see, does everybody remember at Elimination Chamber when Roman Reigns said he was going to be in Dean Ambrose's corner in his WWE World Heavyweight Championship match? Does everybody remember that? And the Authority kept him from interfering? Here's what I think happened, or what I think they should play off of. Roman Reigns' intent was to screw Dean Ambrose out of the championship and take him out of the picture for good by injuring him or putting him through cinder blocks. I don't care. Just keeping him out and taking him out and putting him on the injured reserve or something like that. And then Roman Reigns took over in the World Championship spot. But since the Authority was not keen in on his plan yet, they banned him from ringside because they thought he would help Dean Ambrose win the championship, which wasn't his intent, but he was screwed out of that when the Authority took him out of the ringside area. Now, of course, he didn't interfere anyway. He didn't get Dean Ambrose disqualified. He didn't run down and intentionally get him disqualified so that way he lost the title. He was waiting until he had Dean Ambrose the most vulnerable. And so he was going to wait until after the show. However, Dean Ambrose won the title. So he said, you know what, I'm going to play along. And then I'm going to see when my next break is. So you know what, the next pay-per-view is Money in the Bank. So he can exact revenge now. But wait, he's in the Money in the Bank ladder match. So if he wins, he can cash in on Dean Ambrose, or Seth Rollins, whoever wins the title. Take care of Dean Ambrose. If you make sure he wins the title, make sure Dean Ambrose wins the title, and then beat down on Dean Ambrose. So at the same time, not only is he taking out Dean Ambrose in the championship picture, but he can then also get the championship right then and there as well. But this is the thing. The Authority is already keyed in on his plan now. He told them at the beginning of Money in the Bank, which is why they had a promo with Roman Reigns and the Authority early in the show. That's what I think should happen. They should have a promo at the beginning of Money in the Bank with Roman Reigns and the Authority talking over, or at least Roman Reigns walking out of the Authority's office. That's what I think one of the opening promos should be. Now, where does this go from here? Well, here's what we have. We can still have Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns at SummerSlam. That's pretty keyed in. Now, since Brock Lesnar is going to be returning on the June 22nd edition of Raw, he will challenge Roman Reigns to a match. But at this point in time, Seth Rollins has already invoked his rematch clause for Battleground. Dean Ambrose isn't happy about this, but the Authority does not let him in the championship match, or the championship picture to be exact. So Brock Lesnar says, I'm going to wait my turn, and then at SummerSlam, I will take advantage of Roman Reigns when he's most vulnerable. So we get Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins at WWE Battleground on July 19th, 2015. They built this up for a long time, and Brock Lesnar is also being built up as waiting his turn and making sure that through all the things that Roman Reigns goes through, or Seth Rollins goes through, he's able to take advantage of Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins when they're most vulnerable. And that can include a sneak attack by Brock Lesnar to both, or Brock Lesnar comes down when they both have a match, like a tag team match or so, takes advantage of them, picks them apart, like Brock Lesnar would do. Then we get Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar, or Roman Reigns defeats Seth Rollins at Battleground, and we get Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar. However, at Battleground, Dean Ambrose attacks both Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns at the match, but he's attacking Roman Reigns a lot more. Or he just plain simple attacks Roman Reigns. That's it. He doesn't attack Seth Rollins. because Roman Reigns is the one who screwed him out of the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Now then, Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose both start beating down on Roman Reigns. Seth Rollins and Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose cause Roman Reigns to flee with the world title. Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose look each other in the eye, shake hands, or they do the Shield symbol of excellence. And Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose have forgiven, and Dean Ambrose has forgiven Seth Rollins. And now it's Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose as a pair. So Seth Rollins turns face as Roman Reigns turns heel. We get Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns at SummerSlam. And then afterwards, we get Dean Ambrose versus Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins trying to make sure Roman Reigns doesn't interfere. I'm losing my mind. Make sure Roman Reigns does not win the match. Roman Reigns wins the World Championship match. Whatever the WWE wants him to do in order to win that match, they can go ahead and do it. Because this will give the fans a reason to hate Roman Reigns even more, which will build another heel perspective because he beat Brock Lesnar. Now, if you think about it, here's what you can have. Let's say you debut somebody as a face. You want them to be a dominant face. You want them to be loved by the audience, or you want them to be face and loved by the audience at some point. If you start them off as a face, it's going to take them a lot longer, and it's going to be a lot more of a difficult time in order to have them turn, in order to get them to be back behind with the audience. Now, if you debut them as a heel, and then sooner or later you put them as a face, they would cheer them because they turn from a heel into from a bad guy into a good guy. Which means they would go onto the fans' side. They would do what's right, and that's when the fans would accept them, which is kind of what you did with the Shield, which is why it worked so well, because they debuted as a heel, attacking Ryback, costing him the World Championship match, the WWE title match, and giving CM Punk the win. They were a heel for about a good year and a half. Then they turned face, and everybody goes ballistic because they've been heel for so long, and then they turn face, and they're on the crowd's side. That's what you do when you want somebody to be a dominant face. You don't debut them as a face unless they can get behind the mic and do a lot of great, talented things. And that means having them on the mic and having that performer do so well on the mic that the performer is able to get behind the audience so easily. They're able to kind of manipulate the system and become a face easily. Whether it's them being able to talk on the microphone without having a script in front of them, like CM Punk, always talking out of his mind, never having a script, or the opposite. As long as they have a great microphone perception and they are able to get the fans on their side via talking, that's the only way you should debut them as a face. Debut them as a heel, or at least most of them, because then you can turn them as a face and they'll be loved by the audience because they go from hating the audience to being on their side. So they've got another trooper on their side. So then when Roman Reigns turns face eventually, the crowd will get behind Roman Reigns again. As long as you don't have him as this whole comeback king, or when he's getting beaten down, he'll come back and he'll beat whoever it is. Unless it's against Brock Lesnar. That's the only way you should have that. But when Roman Reigns turns heel, and then he turns back into a face, at least 10 months down the line. It has to be 10 months for Roman Reigns. After those 10 months are up, you can turn him face. Make sure you turn him face, and when he turns face, it's in a great way. It makes sense, and it's in a special way, because then the crowd will get on his side. It won't be like, a few months ago where he was a face and everybody was hating him. But now he's back under the crowd side, and they've been used to him being a bad guy for so long that now he's a good guy. He's on the crowd side again, and they're going to back him up. And at that point, Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins should still be a face. And then at that point, you can do whatever you want. And I would say, bring back the Shield. Now, don't get me wrong. When the Shield broke up, I wanted the Shield to get back together. I didn't want them to go in their other opposite directions. But now that I've given it a try, and it's been a while since they broke up, and they've been on their own for a while, I like it. So a little while longer, and then you can bring back the Shield. However, let me tell you something. If you're going to bring back the Shield, they have to go on another, like, 2-year long run. It can't be like the Evolution. It can't be like Evolution, where it's just 1 or 2 months, and then you're done. It has to be a long time. Okay? So, no bullshit. If they were around for, a year or two before, becoming on their own, then you need to have them go on for another 2 or 3 years. Because that's what makes a great tag team. When they get over with the audience, the crowd loves it. And then you bring them back, and you give them a while to develop. And then keep them as a face. But make sure they do dominant things. Make sure they were as dominant as they were before. But in a face perspective. So, that's what I think you do. Excuse me. And of course, Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns taking together would be to take down Roman Reigns and the Authority. Seth Rollins would have something against the Authority for taking him out of the picture, and Dean Ambrose would have something against Roman Reigns for taking him out of the world title picture. But then, because they're partners, Seth Rollins will hate Roman Reigns because he screwed Dean Ambrose out of the title, and Dean Ambrose will hate the Authority because they screwed Seth Rollins out of the title, and they're closest brothers again. So then they're hating whoever wrongs them or wrongs the other. That's what I think they should do. And afterwards, after SummerSlam, do what you must. And after SummerSlam, if things go the way that I've written them out to be, I will, more than likely, do another video talking about what you should do and where you should go from here with Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and Dean Ambrose, and possibly others. Keep your eye out. If I'm right, when I do my live Money in the Bank review, I will say I'm right. I was right. At least for the first part. And every part that I get right, I will say I was right. And I will be happy. And I will be joyful. And then I will get into the review. So anyway, thank you for watching. That was my topic video. Remember to like, favorite, and subscribe for more. I'm Zach Hardy, signing off.